The world is filled with an exquisite array of flowers, each possessing its unique charm and captivating beauty. From the delicate petals of a rose to the vibrant hues of an orchid, these floral wonders have inspired poets, artists, and nature enthusiasts for centuries. In this extensive essay, we will explore some of the world's most beautiful flowers, delving into their characteristics, cultural significance, and the awe-inspiring wonders they bring to our lives. 1. Rose, Rosa. The rose stands as the quintessential symbol of love, beauty, and elegance. With its velvety petals and enchanting fragrance, the rose has captured hearts across cultures and generations. The genus Rosa includes thousands of species and cultivars, ranging from the classic red rose to vibrant pinks, pure whites, and deep purples. Roses have been cultivated and admired for thousands of years, featured in gardens, art, and literature as timeless symbols of romance and passion. 2. Orchid, Orchidaceae. Orchids are the epitome of exotic beauty and sophistication. With an astounding diversity of over 25,000 species, orchids come in various shapes, sizes, and colors. From the delicate Phalaenopsis to the flamboyant Cattleya, orchids have captivated botanists and enthusiasts alike. These fascinating flowers have adapted to various environments, from tropical rainforests to arid deserts, showcasing their resilience and versatility. Orchids hold cultural significance in many countries and are often associated with love, luxury, and rare beauty. 3. Lotus, Nelumbo nucifera. The lotus holds a sacred place in various cultures and religions, symbolizing purity, enlightenment, and rebirth. This aquatic flower rises gracefully from the muddy waters, its exquisite petals unfurling to reveal a mesmerizing sight. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the lotus is associated with spiritual growth and enlightenment. It is also a national flower in both India and Vietnam, signifying its cultural importance. 4. Tulip, Tulipa. Tulips have an enchanting presence, with their elegant, cup-shaped blooms and richly colored petals. Native to Central Asia, these flowers have become a symbol of the Netherlands, where tulip fields create a breathtaking spectacle during spring. The tulip mania in the 17th century, a period of speculative frenzy over tulip bulbs, remains a significant historical event, highlighting the tulip's allure and value. 5. Cherry blossom, Sakura. Cherry blossoms, or sakura, create a mesmerizing spectacle during springtime in Japan and other countries. These delicate pale pink blooms burst forth in clouds, transforming landscapes into breathtaking displays of natural beauty. The cherry blossom season is celebrated with hanami, flower viewing festivals, where people gather to appreciate the transient beauty of the blossoms, symbolizing the impermanence and fleeting nature of life. 6. Plumeria, frangipani. Plumeria flowers, also known as frangipani, are renowned for their intoxicating fragrance and tropical allure. Native to Central America, Mexico, and the Caribbean, these vibrant flowers come in a variety of colors, including white, pink, yellow, and red. Plumerias are used to make traditional leis in Hawaiian culture, symbolizing love, friendship, and hospitality. 7. Lilium. Lilies are classic, elegant flowers that have been cultivated for centuries. They come in a wide range of colors, including white, pink, orange, and red. Lilies hold various symbolic meanings across cultures, representing purity, renewal, and majesty. Their graceful appearance and pleasant fragrance make them popular choices for gardens and floral arrangements. 8. Sunflower, Helianthus annus. Sunflowers are a cheerful and vibrant addition to any landscape, with their large, bright yellow blooms and striking height. Native to North America, sunflowers have become a symbol of happiness, loyalty, and optimism. They are also valued for their nutritious seeds, which are enjoyed as snacks and used in various culinary applications. 9. Bird of Paradise, Strelitzia reginae. The bird of paradise flower, with its bold, striking appearance, evokes images of a tropical bird in flight. Native to South Africa, these vibrant blooms feature a combination of orange, blue, and green hues. The bird of paradise represents joy, magnificence, and paradise on earth, adding a touch of exotic beauty to any landscape. 10. Hibiscus rosasinensis. Hibiscus flowers are renowned for their dazzling colors and prominent showy blooms. They come in various shades of red, pink, orange, yellow, and white, adding a tropical flair to gardens and landscapes. Hibiscus flowers are not only visually stunning, but also have cultural significance in many countries, representing beauty, femininity, and hospitality.